So I haven't done these in a long time. So I thought I'll make another podcast. I love making I actually want to make long podcasts so that you can just leave it in the background and let it run. Cause I have the soothing, very Manilow voice, ladies. Right? You can fall asleep to it. It's so smooth and silky, like fucking ASMR shit. So I don't know what I'm gonna talk about. Lately I've been on a Connor Murphy binge, and I hesitated on titling this video Connor Murphy, and because people think you're a clout chaser, or you're just trying to hang on to this balloon that keeps rising afloat and more and up and up and up. But here's the thing. I mean, well, I'm interested chief. Well, obviously he's entertaining, but and I wrote in one of the podcast on one of the videos, not on his channel, that he's kind of reminds me of Russell Brand and Jim Carrey, those kind of even Conan. Like he has that sort of that he's liberated. So he has that free spirited nature, the nature that we are all born with, the childlike nature. He himself said he has the childlike neuroplasticity and but yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, if children are born with this, and I found it out about myself, how the nature, the how this say in Zen, what is the nature of your what was the nature of yourself before you were born, or like what is who is the one that drags this corpse, or like whatever, like basically your real nature, like your kensho, Kensho, as the Japanese call it. And yeah, so when I did sensory deprivation, even though I didn't do DMT or ayahuasca or anything psychedelics, but I think sensory deprivation, if you do it long enough, it secretes DMT in the pineal gland, your endogenous DMT. So I've been to the place, and yeah, or even when Kundalini awakening like rises, and it makes you psychotic, but that is a premature Kundalini awakening. But yeah, like people say, you want to have your both feet planted on each side of the realm. So when you thought, yeah, you cannot stay in, but can you though? That's what like Connor Murphy's like. First of all, I do think I respect and admire him as an artist, and I do think he's precisely that, and he's a businessman, and like for instance, one of his video he made today, like he eats his own feces. But isn't that a footnote to the whole cultural, this milieu, this smorgasbord of this zeitgeist we live in, where it's like people were crazy, would do anything to go viral, and ultimately it's almost he his video puts a question mark, like how far would you go? Would you really eat your own feces? Even though he doesn't say it explicitly, but it's kind of like a meandering uh, offshoot of thought you can think about, like how far would people go. Obviously there was the other guy, I haven't like Logan Paul, right, who did that, and then YouTube struck him down. But I don't think for a second Conor Murphy is crazy. I mean, yeah, he exhibits symptoms of psychosis, schizophrenia, but I mean, his room, and then in some of the videos, his room is all messy, he's sort of disheveled, but he's not incoherent, he's alert, he's aware. I mean, yeah. But going back to my original point, like what exactly we mean by crazy? I'm not saying schizophrenia doesn't exist. That to some extent there are many variations and degrees of schizophrenia in all of us. Trump has megalomania, right? His delusion of grandeur, but he ran the whole damn fucking country. So do all leaders like Idi Amin, or like if you watch Last Kingdom of Scotland, or like, or think of all the quintessential villains of history: Pol Pot, Mussolini, Stalin, even Putin. Like all these people, like before, homosexuality was considered, and now was considered a anomaly. Right, and now they have now only this year, only in 2021, DSM finally decided to strike it down, like remove it. So exactly, like, isn't it all relative though? Nakirema, you know, Nakirema. There are crocodile people, like people with the crocodile man in some parts of the world, where they have psychiatrists, like those cuts, lacerations on their back. Isn't that a symptom of delusion? But in that culture context, it's perfectly normal, legit. So is psychological, is psychology, psychiatry, is it veridical? Is it the real ultimate truth? Does it adhere to, or is it simply because we don't like in a Bengali we have a saying, যাকে দেখতে পারি না তার চলন বাঁকা. Basically means if we don't like someone, then he moves weird. Basically, we justify our dislikes for someone just because based on our assumptions and our tastes on how they should behave. It's because it's us who who are not, who don't like the way other people should be conforming, so that we can feel better, right? So yeah, I mean, so okay. This is another thing I was thinking before I press record. Say, let's say some people who's not schizophrenic, psychotic, or schizophrenic, or psychiatric, or has psychiatry issue, like Obama. Everyone loves Obama. At least in the liberal world, everyone fucking loves Obama. He's like this sane valedictorian guy. He's the ideal model student everyone should follow, right? But even imagine a planet where everyone was not Obama. They did not have the skin color that he had. They didn't have the cadence, the voice, the articulation, the appearance, the physique, the nature, the personality, his candor, his his polished nature, his sophistication. No one had that. His wit and humor. Everyone was non-Obama, and then Obama goes to the planet, and he's the only Obama, and everyone is non-Obama. So it could be anything. They could have two-headed people on the planet. On that planet, there could be some guy with lizard people. There could be some guy with tail, long dinosaur like tail jutting out from the stomach. Whatever it is, they're not Obama. So Obama is the crazy person there. If Obama lands there, maybe I should write a book about it. Obama lands there and everyone deems him to be crazy because he's not. Everyone is. It's let's just call it the planet of no Obama, and Obama is the crazy one because he's different. Or like if everyone were blind, would the non-blind person be abnormal? So I mean, Salvador Dali, like I do see some parallels to it. Remember, Connor, he's an artist, and I do see some. Salvador Dali did. I mean, he used to do eccentric things. Like he had a lobster for a fucking phone, like for crying out loud. Or any other, like even like Andy Warhol, or like other eccentric, charismatic, sort of the flamboyant figures in the artists. Or crystal, like if you do that, and if you don't justify, back it up, if you don't have the credential, you're an artist. If you do shit like that, you're fucking crazy. But I'm not saying, yeah, you. I mean, Connor Murphy could easily have been that dude in front of Salvation Army who waits before the door opens up and he talks about crazy fucking coming from some different constellation, alien and whatnot. But he wouldn't have been taken so seriously then. But because he has a large following, people are at least tuning into him. But the point being, it's like craziness, or like abnormality, madness. These are subjective. But even though I'm not saying, some people like catatonic people, or some people who has Horsala, who speaks in Horsala, or even Paika, the people who eat shit, feces, those people have. Speaking of Paika, there was this guy who had. This was sort of a different kind of eating disorder. I'm not sure if it's disorder, like the guy who ate an airplane, like not a just jumbo size fucking Boeing 747. I'm not talking about small. It's like a Cessna type of airplane. He broke it down, and he had his digestive tracts or intestines could like easily absorb those like metal, like nuts and bolts, and so he broke down the entire plane. So he's the ultimate definition of eating an elephant by piecemeal, like chunk by chunk. What? Yeah. So, like, anyone can be crazy, right? Even Obama is crazy, like in a planet of no non-Obamas, or like some people who's dearly loved, or. But what do we really mean by crazy? Like, there are different shades of it, different personalities of it, different textures. It's almost like Ajahn Brahm, the Buddhist monk. He talk, like from Bodhiana Monastery in Australia. He talks about like, well, they're not like some branches are crooked, some are like you point to a cloud and say, oh, that's weird. You don't point to a tree and say, oh, that's weird. But we do that to the people, and it's mainly because of our own ego, to satisfy our own egoic desires and needs, to justify that, oh, we are the ones who are right. But then you'll say, if it's not subject, can you actually go around and do as you please? And the answer to that is affirm vociferous yes, you can do whatever you want, you can drive any way you want, but you wouldn't want to because of their consequences. But it's not like even gratitude. People say, oh, yeah, gratitude, like that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do. But God would could just come and say, hey, fuck it. I didn't say you have to say thanks every time you eat something, or you have to give a prayer before you eat. I never said that. You're the one who's imposing that upon me. You're projecting your fucking ethical values and standards and morality and whatnot onto me, and you're using me as a mouthpiece to fucking spout your own bullshit. I never said that. And that's just one gratitude. And it could be with about anything. Like, so there is no, I'm saying, how there's this video in Neil Donovan said, there's no black whiteboard where and it says you must, and there's a writing, it's a sentence on the board that said that this should be it. Yeah, there isn't any, and I agree full fledgedly. But for instance, like the reason why I make bed, people say, oh, because it's good, blah blah blah, self productive, blah blah. Yeah, but if I do it, it's all nice. My room looks nice and neat and clean, and it makes me feel good mentally. But if I don't do it, then it's not bad or good, because even if I don't do it, I'm still at ease because I'm. You might say I'm lazy, but at the same time, like like what I'm saying is, if you make your bed, you do the hard work. See, and there's a gratification of being cleanliness or neat and clean room. But at the same time, when you when your bed is all messy, the upshot to it is you don't give a fuck. You get to do whatever you want. You're not forced to do a chore. On the other hand, it just looks ugly. So like Raymond Spooner talk about it. People say, like, talked about, give as a simple analogy, like, um yeah, if you don't have money, you're upset that you don't have money. But if you have money, you're still upset. No, if you don't have money, you're upset that you're not rich enough. But if you're rich, I forgot. Like, I should look it up. But no, but yeah, you try. You see what I'm trying to go at, right? Like, it's like, yeah, they're. It's like all. Yeah, the yin and yang. It all balances out. The equation balances out. If you're rich, you're still worried. You're not. If you're rich, you're worried. You can sleep at night, and you're still worried. And on the other hand, if you're poor, you're still worried that you're not rich. It's like everything's a paradox. Everything can. You can say anything. Okay, just like any statement. People should be kind. Why? Well, because of social contract and whatever. Like, you can say that, you can justify it that way, but it's not. Nothing is written in stone in reality and nature. Nothing is written in stone in reality and nature. Nothing is in golden letters that okay, this is how it should be, and that's the ultimate. Some people get it on the ultimate insight that some people get on psychedelics, some people don't. Um, but you can get it naturally too. You don't need psychedelics to do it. But ultimately, like, yeah, we're all Atman, Brahman. We're all one. We're also the world. The self is non-dual. Blah blah blah. And it's like anything goes. Yeah, ultimately anything does go. You can fucking go around, fucking jet spring, calm all over the place, but fucking you get arrested and shit. So, and there's the thing, psychosis. Like, yeah. So it's not. What I'm trying to say is, like, psychiatry. It's not like it's because to have a semblance of rationality, and then again that begs the question, what is rationality? A semblance of normalcy, again that begs the question, what is normalcy? To semblance of, say, let's just say stability and equilibrium, we have mental health, we have cat team, and we have hospital, psychiatry, asylum, or they don't call it asylum, behavior institutes and whatnot. The point being, but you should all we should it's also important to keep this in mind, that those, it's not like ultimate, it's not like there's some ideal state how you should behave, and if you don't, it's sort of sin, or god forbid, like if it's like sort of like it's the wrong way, quote unquote. That's and that's how Connor, that's why he inspires me. It's almost like he liberates me, just like Jim Carrey's antics, Russell Brand, or those people. It's almost liberates you, questions, it knocks on your like, or even Borat, those people. He's like, like a comedian, a good comedian, or like Joker. Like what is like it's not like you can do whatever the shit you want. You could be like all fucking bad shit crazy, fucking spraying your cum all over the place and shitting all around like a fucking ape, and you will be arrested for that shit, for lewd and offensive behavior and conduct and exhibitionism and whatnot. Like, yeah, that's another point. Naked. Why would I heard some guy in Berkeley or somewhere. Some student came in naked and nude, and he had a big strike. So and he raised the question why we should be wearing clothes. Yeah. So the point we, yeah, from some, what I'm trying to say is the reason why crazy there is craziness, but not craziness as in the vertical sense. Craziness as in like, for example, freeway. Yeah, you can drive however you want. If you go to Sahara, you can drive however you want. And if you live in an urban city in Manhattan or LA or here as in Orange County, you have to follow traffic laws. But nothing in the universe that says you're supposed to draw that, like the yield at the yellow sign or blah blah blah, yield at pedestrians have the right of, like, universally, the universal blackboard, there is no such laws. But on the other hand, it's all contextual. Yes, ethics is situational. That doesn't mean that people with crazy, and again, these are all pretense of God. God is in various disguises of a narcissist, of a schizophrenic, catatonic, retarded person, vegetable, whatever. He's in different disguises, and it's ultimately, yeah. And some people say, and it is our nature to help them. But then again, as Alan Watts said that in the Thomas Sash video, "Let me help you," said the monkey, putting the fish on the tree. I mean, yeah, we are concerned, but concerned for who? For them or for ourselves? And some people are generally, some empaths are generally concerned, but then again, that's not a virtue. I always maintain empathy is the empaths are not virtuous. Empaths and narcissists, they're all the same thing. They're both selfish. They're both selfish. Empaths want to feel better by virtue signaling. Narcissists just want to fucking straight up feel better by being a fucking asshole. So Leo Tolstoy, he was crazy. Van Gogh, he was crazy. Any aber any aberration. It's almost like some people. I forget the quote. I see that always on in the comment section. It's like, if you, the real craziness is fucking living is sticking to the 9 to 5 job as a cog for this capitalist society, as a fucking wage slave and fucking chattel labor, and fucking be a mindless robot. Have you ever ridden a bus during the traffic hour? Fucking people are mindless zombies. They're hunch droop. I mean, if you love your job, then you say, oh, but always you can always you can always they don't have any other choice. Yeah, true. You don't have any other choice. That's why they're being shit in a hard place, rock in a hard place, Skyline, Charybdis. Like, they have to do the job. Fair enough. But by that token, a person who chose to uh, opt out of the game, like yogis or homeless people or the bums or the beatniks or whatever, that's why they chose to do it, because at least they may not be financially stable or happy, or like they don't know where their food comes from, but at least they don't have that kind of leash by their like, collarbone. So, and but that doesn't mean that all people crazy beatniks and hippies and yogis and bums and they're all happy. I mean, ultimately, we're all trying to be happy. I am a firm believer in utilitarianism. I think Barton Russell also studied utilitarianism. He was a student of Mill, actually, John Stuart Mill. And Mill, I read somewhere, I'm not sure if it's true. At one point, John Stuart Mill lamented he could not turn the pages of the book as fast as he wanted. Like, basically, he could not turn the pages as fast as he could read. So he almost had photographic memory, or he could speed read a lot of books and those. those people. There was another. If you're interested in speed reading, I think Evelyn Wood, her name. Evelyn Wood was the person who created. Like somehow she was brushing off, in a brushing off pages, and then she found that if you do pacing, you can read faster. And it is true, but um, so yeah, I can talk about those kind of stuffs long before, but let's just constrain ourselves to mental illness and craziness, madness. So, what I'm saying is, yeah, mental illness exists to some degree. Like some people, like fucking, you can't never reach them. Some people think they're fucking king of France or made of glass or whatever, but some people genuinely think that, and they're speaking words out of you. I'm sure you've come across them, but um, but at the same time, it's like almost Sorites paradox. If you know Sorites, it's almost, especially I love that in cricket. Like, people like, and if you don't, well, cricket and Sorites paradox, basically it's like in cricket, if you're let's just say run out, if the ball hits the stumps, and if the bat is not grounded, you're out. The bat is not within certain confines of a box. But then it gets tricky if it's on the line, and then it gets tricky if the bat is on an edge, and it's on the line. It's like, and if you dissect it finer and finer to the atoms, it's like, is it even grounded or not? Like, so similarly, it's like fucking. It's just, I mean, how can I explain it? Like, okay, let's just say you slapped me, and I say, yeah, you slapped me, and and the person says, I never slapped you, and I said, why? Because you touched me. But then he'll say, okay, show me the, and then he shows this video footage and says, look, I never touched you, and I said, no, why? And then he break down the frames more and more and more and more and more, and then you can come to a point where there's this evident evident frame where the hand obviously touches your cheek, my cheek, but you wanna you wanna break that down, even you wanna go take a microscope and even wanna zoom in on it, and yeah, and then you see that even this touching, it's like, where do you draw the line? Basically, that's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to say. Where do you draw the line? Fucking like, at one point, does do the atoms and the fucking, do you know, like, I actually read it first time I saw this in Harun Yahya book. Yeah, this guy, this guy, I was gonna say dumb guy, but anyways, this guy wanted to justify I think it's called Science and Quran or something like that. He wanted to justify Quranic verses based on science, and he said some really weird ass shit, like, oh, it was in Quran how universe is like universe is flat, and it's just modern day contemporary uh, cosmos science shows that the universe is flat, blah blah. We rolled it like a carpet, blah blah. And at one point he said that the atoms of a wall can align in a certain, precisely in a way where a horse can actually walk through it. It's like, because the atoms, it's like, how can I say? It's like atoms interlocks, like pass through each other, because the probability is like the electrons where the arrange themselves so that it's like almost there is no, they don't hit into each other, but they pass right through. It's almost like, yeah, like hand through water or something. So, anyways, as I was saying, so craziness. What is craziness? Are religious people crazy? If you're as guys, some guys, and CCHR but that is based on Scientology, so people that didn't that didn't generate momentum, and that didn't take off. That didn't because CCHR is Scientologist, and one guy was saying, I think he was an Navy SEAL, or I don't know, I'm not sure if he was a Navy SEAL, but he's a probably military guy. He was saying, if you fucking meditate 8 hours a day in the Himalayas, that could also be deemed crazy. If you don't do, from, so it's culture, it's all relative. At the same time, culture is non-relative. Like, I mean, um, yeah, like some people, like, Even think of Hinduism. People are so enamored by that. Even no self-respecting psychiatrist worth his salt, his or her salt, will say that there's nothing wrong with yoga. But the fucking yoga people who yogis, they they fucking talk about Shiva Lingam. How crazy, batshit crazy is that? And again, no offense to Hinduism, but if you think about it, imagine a Christian person who talks about, or who hears things about Shiva Lingam. It's like, that's weird. That's like fucking crazy. And on the other hand, some atheists who studies Christianity will say that's crazy. I mean, what Noah, Lot, Pillar of Salt, Lot's wife, or whatever. All these are crazy. So isn't this all subjective though? But then you say, but what about that guy you in front of Salvation Army who keeps on blabbling? He's like king of Arcturus planet, blah blah. Who knows? Maybe from the life experience he had, there are people who get paranoid. The CIA is listening. Maybe they have traumatic experience, and that's why it's like you can condition people. Well, if you show an apple every time, and there's like neurons that wire together, fire together. If you shock them, like real shock, fucking fuck you up shock, like torture, like they can get fucking triggered by the apple, right? And they might say, "There's a devil in the apple." But there's devil in the, speaking of devil in the detail, there is in all, no matter what the logical, see, people think logical people, I think that's one of the times penny dropped was when I was reading Keith Devlin. He End of Reason, and he was a popular he was mathematics popularizer, and he said, yeah, to a person who smokes, it's perfectly normal, it's perfectly logical because it helps them to socialize. On the other hand, to another health nut, it could be like, because it's smoking is bad, smoking is good, and smoking is bad because it's bad for your health. So it's also perspective. So people who, we people say talk about 10,000 hours, but the 10,000 hours that we spend in our lifetime, we are expert of ourselves. It could be a fucking teenage ditz who thinks about her next date. She even thinks logically, like, oh, why isn't he calling? Is he saying something? Is he cheating on me? These are logical thoughts. These are not crazy thoughts. Everyone is logical. It doesn't matter what age, sex, race you are, or what. Everyone is logic. Even the logic is logic. Like, what is logic? If I say logic, some person from academician, or whatever, can't even pronounce that right. He'll pull out a fucking modus tollens, and so, okay, P implies Q, P therefore Q, and then he build on the structure. But what is the starting axiom? Like, even Euclidean geometry or non-Euclidean geometry, Lobachevsky, like fucking why they say parallel lines meet at infinity. That was my favorite anecdote about non-Euclidean geometry, because yeah, parallel lines, if it's on a globe, they meet at infinity, if you think about that way. So Lobachevsky, I think. So, like, yeah, what is logic? Logic is illogical. These are man-made constructs. Then you'll say, but what about Rubik's cube? There is a logical solution to it. You can't just randomly, you have to follow some recipe algorithm and then it will follow it. Yeah, but it's almost like you want a recipe so that you can solve it so that all faces are same color, right? Same color, right? But that, in our mind, we remember the meme where this guy wakes up with a scrambled Rubik's cube and there is a monk on the top of a mountain. He already has it solved. This is this famous meme or cartoon. Now, point being, one could say the guy with the scrambled Rubik's cube, that is the solve. Like, that is the solution. So how would you go from a solved, quote unquote solved state to that unscrambled state? And there are actually Rubik's cube competitions that aims to do that, where they'll show this the end game, and you have to go from point A to point B. The point B, so it's almost tautological though. So everything is tautological. If you go deep into mathematics, like meta mathematics, David Hilbert and those guys, fucking Gardel, fucking Quiney, or like W.V. Quiney, or like who else? Or the modal logic. I don't think modal logic is a big old waste of time. Like Lopes paradox, Lopes paradox, or like doxastic logic. Remus Smoothian, I think, did that. With just like, these are all manipulation of symbolic manipulation. But like this statement is true or false. Like is it true or false? Like you can never know that. Provable, unprovable. But that itself, those words themselves are semantics. What do you mean by provable? Well, what is truth? What is false? Like are these are life is not just some reality. These are not. There are no truth tables out there in the world. I mean, even the very so this is where this dichotomy is with the practitioners of philosophy and the one who in real life people believe like they study the ultimate nature in the nature of the quintessence, the essence of electrons is it's a wave and a function, it's a particle, blah blah blah. But if everything is made up of those kind of stuff, then obviously like this building, this room I'm inhabiting, that also has that property, and they don't want to take that leap, and there's the most dumbest illogical quote unquote steps in the the thing in the world. It's like on Sundays they're fucking theologians, and the other days you're their philosophers. Why? Almost like they're afraid to get banished, ridiculed. Like if you say like yeah you can be a fucking Roger Penrose and still say, actually there was this Scientific American or some other magazine or Newsweek, I don't know, they said there was a title, if electron inhabit two places at the same time, but why can't you? Why can't you? You can by location, why not? But I mean, yeah, I mean, why not? Why bilocation is not possible? Is possible, or like earlier Connor was looking at was talking with this flat earther, and I found that to be even nutty. But who is to say the guy with the flat earther, his models? If we imagine this, imagine infinite sided dice, or even that's too mind boggling for you fuckheads. Imagine like anything goes, like this reality is this canvas, you can draw anything and that will be the logical framework. like like fucking you can make a law like every time the ball bounces off the wall, some kid whose name ends with M dies. That's a weird law, but you can start a universe in that with that first, that as the first axiom. So you can start any universes with any first axioms and with any sort of like a Conway cellular automaton with the rule 32 and all those, but it's like you make up your own rules. So if infinite possibilities exist, infinite spaces exist, infinite universes exist, sure, some fucking that possibility exists where flat earthers models holds true, or any nutty when the nuttiest thing you can imagine that holds true, whereas some schizophrenia thinks he's an elephant, or like psychotic people or like delusional people, whatever, that holds true, or like I mean if anything goes, like suppose I have this or imagination, like if you can imagine anything, maybe that's real. Like who is to say, like, and that's the part of having a fluid mentality and fluid intelligence and be not rigid, is because so yeah, going back to my own by starting the titular point, like what is crazy, define craziness. It's like how much is it cultural, how much is it biological, how much is societal, how much is it, but veridically there is no such thing as crazy. It's like you cannot say like a lion or a hedgehog, you cannot say hedgehog is not a good animal, or a lion is a good animal, or whatever, rabbit is a good animal. It's like no dude, it's like you're comparing apples to oranges. It's like, and so I would go far with you in that regard, that yes, craziness, mental illness, all those madness, they exist, but not from the point of view of God, omniscient being, or like a reality from a neutral perspective of reality, like, or like a Godhead. And by Godhead I mean like a beingless being, basically, or like a pointless point. Like it's like ineffability. It's like, or the Tao is called the Tao that can be talked about is not the real Tao. Like from that perspective, it's like yeah, you don't it's nothing's crazy. Anything goes. Doesn't mean you should do it. You should, but anything does go.